In the cold, silent corridors of Halvern Station, a routine security check turns into a pulse-racing mystery when Officer Marlowe Griggs comes face-to-face with something no one on the station has ever seen. A towering, winged being with eyes like molten gold, holding secrets that could change the fate of the galaxy. One choice will decide whether he upholds the rules or shatters them forever. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us in the comments where are you watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. Marlowe Griggs had walked the long metal corridors of Halvern Station for years, and most days felt exactly the same. The air always carried the faint scent of ozone mixed with the sterile tang of recycled filters. The sound of his boots echoed in the empty cargo decks, bouncing off steel walls built to keep the vacuum of space out. In his mind, nothing exciting ever happened here anymore. But today would be different. It began with a message from the control hub. An unusual biosignature had been detected in Dock Chamber 12. It wasn't an emergency, but it was strange enough to send a security officer to check it out. Marlowe, who had just finished his lukewarm coffee, was the one chosen. He adjusted his plain uniform, the fabric stiff from too many washes, and started walking toward the far end of the docking sector. As he moved deeper into the station, the hum of machinery grew louder. Automated cargo drones zipped past overhead rails, their lights blinking in steady patterns. Marlowe passed stacks of sealed freight containers, each marked with logos from far-off trading colonies. He scanned the dim corners out of habit, his mind ticking through routine procedures. Still, a small spark of curiosity stirred in him. The path to Dock Chamber 12 was quiet, too quiet. Marlowe's footsteps sounded sharper than usual, and even the air system seemed muted. He glanced at his handheld scanner. The biosignature was still there, pulsing faintly on the display. It wasn't large, but it didn't match any species currently registered on the station. He reached the heavy security doors and keyed in his access code. The doors opened with a low hiss. Inside, the chamber was lit only by a few strips of overhead light, casting long shadows across the polished floor. Rows of towering cargo crates stood like silent walls, leaving narrow paths between them. Marlowe stepped inside and called out, "Station security, identify yourself." His voice carried through the empty spa, but no answer came back. Instead, he heard something else. A soft rustling, like heavy cloth shifting over metal. Then came a thin veil of vapor, curling upward from behind a row of crates. His grip tightened on the scanner. The smell in the air changed. No longer just ozone. There was something warmer, almost like charred metal mixed with a hint of spice. He moved toward the sound, each step slow and deliberate. The scanner's signal grew stronger. When he turned the corner, he froze. In the shadow between two cargo stacks stood a massive figure. Scales shimmered in shades of deep charcoal, catching the light in subtle ripples. Wide wings rested folded along its sides, their thin membranes glowing faintly amber where the light touched them. The creature's eyes, bright and steady, fixed on Marlowe with an expression that was neither hostile nor afraid. Before Marlowe could speak again, the creature spoke first. Its voice was deep and calm, carrying a faint accent Marlowe couldn't place. "You must be the security officer," it said. "I am Sarathian, transport specialist, licensed and registered." Marlowe blinked, caught between disbelief and protocol. A dragon encounter was not in the station's normal routine. "You can talk?" he said, more to himself than as a question. Sarathian inclined his head slightly. "I can, and I am here on official business. There is no need for alarm." Marlowe's training told him to call for backup, His instincts told him to listen. "You're the biosignature we picked up," he said slowly. "What kind of business brings a being like you to Halvern Station?" The dragon shifted slightly, the ropes and harness across his neck clicking softly against his scales. "A collection," Sarathian said. "Scheduled and cleared by your station's high command." Marlowe studied him. Nothing in the station's daily logs had mentioned a delivery or pickup involving a draconian transport agent. "You'll need to show me your clearance," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. Sarathian reached, with careful precision, into a pouch hanging from his harness and withdrew a slim tablet device. It looked almost comically small in his large claws. He tapped the screen and turned it toward Marlowe. Holographic seals, official-looking permits, and clearance codes floated above the display. They all looked genuine. Marlowe lowered his scanner, but didn't put it away. "All right," he said. "If that's true, I'll need to escort you, and you'll follow my lead." Sarathian's mouth curved slightly, though Marlowe couldn't tell if it was a smile. "As you wish, officer. Lead the way." As they began walking toward the exit, Marlowe's thoughts raced. He had dreamed for years about something breaking the monotony of station life. Now, with each step, he felt the weight of a new reality pressing in. What exactly was in the package this dragon had come for? And why did it require a being of such size, power, and authority to collect it? He glanced at Sarathian, who moved with the quiet confidence of someone used to traveling far beyond the safety of space station corridors. Marlowe didn't know it yet, but this encounter was about to take him into the heart of a space station mystery far larger than he could imagine. And as the chamber doors closed behind them, the ordinary rhythm of his days was gone for good. Marlowe led Sarathian through the long steel corridors of Halvern Station, his boots clicking against the polished floor. The dragon's footsteps were almost silent despite his size, the soft sound of his claws tapping lightly on the metal panels. The path toward Vault Sigma 4 was a route Marlowe rarely walked. Most officers never had reason to go there. The station's lights cast a pale glow across the hallway. To their left, large windows revealed the endless black of space, speckled with distant stars. Marlowe kept glancing at the dragon beside him, still trying to process how calm and sure the creature seemed. Sarathian broke the silence first. "You look as though you have questions, officer," he said, his voice even and low. Marlowe didn't look at him. "I have plenty. We don't get many visitors like you, and we certainly don't have dragons collecting cargo from our highest security vault." "Perhaps," Sarathian replied, "but this is no ordinary cargo, and I am no ordinary courier." Marlowe's grip tightened on the security scanner in his hand. "That's what I'm afraid of." The corridor narrowed as they approached the restricted zone. Bright yellow hazard stripes lined the floor, marking the start of an area where clearance was limited to only a handful of personnel. Marlowe swiped his identification badge through the reader at the first checkpoint. The screen flashed green, and the heavy blast doors opened with a slow mechanical groan. Inside, the air felt cooler, the faint hum of environmental systems more pronounced. Marlowe knew this was deliberate. Temperature and humidity in the vault wing were strictly controlled to protect sensitive materials stored here. As they walked deeper, Sarathian spoke again. "Do you know what is kept in Sigma 4? Marlowe shrugged. "Rumors mostly. Diplomatic items, rare tech, things you don't ask too many questions about." "Some rumors are true," the dragon said, his amber eyes scanning their surroundings. After 2 more checkpoints, they reached the main vault entrance. The door to Sigma 4 was an imposing slab of reinforced alloy, embedded with layers of security systems. Marlowe stepped up to the panel. First came the badge swipe, then a retinal scan, the machine emitting a brief beam of light across his eye. Last was the voice key, a short code phrase only authorized staff could speak. Officer Marlowe Griggs, Halvern Station Security, clearance level 3, he said. There was a pause, then a deep chime as the system unlocked. The door slid aside to reveal a large chamber lit by recessed lights along the ceiling. The room was spotless, the walls lined with secure storage units of varying shapes and sizes. In the center stood a single pedestal. On it rested a containment case unlike anything Marlowe had seen. Matte black, with no markings or seams. It seemed to swallow the light around it. Marlowe stepped closer. This is it? All that security for one box? Sarathion moved forward with surprising delicacy for his size. Not just a box, he said quietly. This is the containment unit for the Aurelus Shard. The name meant nothing to Marlowe. Never heard of it. Few have, Sarathion replied. It is a temporal artifact, rare, powerful, and very dangerous if mishandled. It can reveal fragments of possible futures, and in the wrong hands, it could influence them. Marlowe frowned. Influence the future? You're telling me this thing can change what's going to happen? The dragon's gaze was steady. I am telling you it must never be given the chance. Marlowe didn't like the sound of it, but the permits Sarathion had shown earlier still burned in his mind. They looked genuine, and if the shard was as important as he claimed, maybe this really was official business. Sarathion extended his claws carefully, lifting the black case from the pedestal with the precision of someone handling fragile glass. Secure, intact, and ready for transport, he said. Marlowe's instinct was to ask why such a mission had been kept from the regular security team. Instead, he simply said, "Let's get you back to your docking bay." They retraced their steps toward the vault doors. Marlowe glanced at the case again, wondering what kind of people or creatures would need something like the Aurelus Shard as they passed through the last security checkpoint. Marlowe caught his own reflection in the polished metal walls. His face looked tense, his eyes sharper than they had in years. Part of him knew this was the kind of day he had been waiting for without even realizing it. But another part whispered that whatever was happening here, it was only the beginning. Sarathion carried the case effortlessly, his expression unreadable. "Do not worry, officer," he said softly as they walked. "Everything is under control." Marlowe wasn't convinced. In his experience, when someone said everything was under control, it rarely was. Marlowe and Sarathion moved steadily through the dimly lit corridors, the black containment case held firmly in the dragon's claws. The path back to the docking sector was quiet, but Marlowe's mind was not. Every step seemed to echo with unspoken questions. He still couldn't decide if this was just a strange assignment or something far more dangerous. Then Marlowe's comm unit chirped. The sharp sound cut through the sill. He tapped the device on his wrist. "Officer Griggs," came the voice of Shift Supervisor Lena Halvik, her tone urgent. "We have a situation. An unauthorized entry into Vault Sigma 4 was logged 7 minutes ago using the director's credentials." Marlowe stopped walking. "That's impossible. I just left Sigma 4 with the cargo. The vault was locked and sealed." "I'm telling you what the logs show," Halvik said. "And the director is on Lunar Base 4 in a meeting. He hasn't been here all day." Marlowe's eyes narrowed. He turned towards Sarathion, who had gone completely still. The dragon's gaze was focused on the far wall, as though avoiding direct eye contact. "You want to explain that?" Marlowe asked. Sarathion sighed, a faint stream of warm vapor leaving his nostrils. "I had hoped we could avoid this part, but it seems the truth will not wait. I am not here simply to collect the Aurelus Shard. I am here to stop it from being stolen." Marlowe's grip tightened on the scanner in his hand. From where I'm standing, it looks like you're the one doing the stealing." "Wrong," Sarathian said, firmly. He shifted the case slightly so Marlowe could see it more clearly. "The shard was never meant to come to Halvern Station. Your director had it diverted here with the intention of selling it to the Varco Syndicate, one of the most dangerous criminal groups operating in this quadrant." Marlowe frowned. "That's a bold claim." Without another word, Sarathian tapped a panel on his tablet device. A projection shimmered in the air between them, showing financial records, encrypted communications, and transfer logs. The names of syndicate shell companies appeared alongside account details linked directly to the station director. "These are from the Stellar Research Assembly's investigation," Sarathian said. "They've been tracking your director for months. His accounts are full of credits from people who would do anything to control a temporal artifact." Marlowe scanned the display. The information looked legitimate, too detailed to be faked on the spot. "If the Assembly knows all this, why not arrest him?" Marlowe asked. "Because your director has powerful friends," Sarathian replied. "Friends who can shield him from the law. The only way to bring him down is to catch him with the shard in his possession, or prove he is arranging its sale." Before Marlowe could respond, the deep, pulsing wail of the station's lockdown alarm filled the corridor. Red lights flashed along the walls, and heavy blast doors began sealing sections of the station. Sarathian's voice grew sharper. "We are out of time. If we don't leave now, the shard will remain here, and the director will find another way to sell it. You must come with me, officer. The Assembly needs a witness who can testify to what happened." Marlowe's instincts screamed at him to follow protocol, to take the shard to the nearest secure facility. But another voice inside him, the one that had been restless for years, told him that this was his moment to make a real difference. "You expect me to just walk out of here with you?" Marlowe asked. "Yes," Sarathian said simply. "It is the only way to keep the shard safe." Marlowe hesitated, the red lights casting long shadows across the corridor. He thought about his career, his years of doing everything by the book, and the quiet frustration that had built up over time. Finally, he nodded. "All right, but if I find out you're lying, I'll make you regret it." A flicker of what might have been amusement crossed the dragon's face. "Noted." They quickened their pace toward the docking sector, the echo of the alarm chasing them. Over the comms, Marlowe could hear the security team mobilizing, their movements coordinated to trap whoever was breaching protocol. "We'll never get through the normal exit routes," Marlowe said. "We won't need them," Sarathian replied. "My ship is cloaked just beyond the outer bay. We'll leave directly from here." As they neared the final blast door before the bay, Marlowe's comm unit buzzed again. "Officer Griggs," Helvig's voice snapped. "Return to the security hub immediately. All patrol units are ordered to stay clear of docking Sector 6. The intruder is believed to be armed and dangerous." Marlowe looked at Sarathian, who gave a low, knowing rumble. "That would be me, according to their records," he said. The last door opened, revealing the wide expanse of the docking bay. The shimmer of the atmospheric shield marked the boundary between the station and the void of space beyond. Marlowe took a deep breath. "If we do this, there's no turning back." "I am aware," Sarathian said, "and so are you." Together, they stepped into the bay. The hiss of the lockdown doors beginning to close behind them only pushed them forward faster. Marlowe could feel his pulse in his ears, the tension wrapping around him like a vice. This wasn't just another day on Halvern Station. It was the moment everything changed. The docking bay was vast and silent, except for the rising wail of the lockdown sirens. Red warning lights pulsed against the steel walls, each flash marking the seconds slipping away. Marlowe stood just inside the entrance, his eyes fixed on the shimmering blue barrier that kept the station's atmosphere from spilling into the void beyond. Sarathian set the black containment case gently on the floor beside him. "Once we pass through that field, there will be no turning back," the dragon said. His voice carried a calm certainty, though the tension in his shoulders betrayed the urgency of the moment. Marlowe glanced over his shoulder. The heavy blast doors were starting to close, slow but unstoppable. Somewhere down the corridor, the sound of armored boots hitting the deck was drawing nearer. Security was coming fast. "How exactly do you expect us to get to your ship?" Marlowe asked. "We can't just walk into space." Sarathian's amber eyes glinted. "You won't be walking. You'll be holding on to me. I can shield you from the vacuum long enough to reach my vessel." Marlowe's first instinct was to say no. Humans weren't meant to ride dragons through space. Yet the thought of staying meant the shard would end up back in the director's hands, and everything Sarathian had told him about its danger echoed in his mind. A burst of static from his comm unit broke the moment. "Officer Griggs, respond immediately," came Supervisor Halvik's voice, sharp and commanding. "The intruder is in your sector. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage." Marlowe closed the channel without answering. Sarathian crouched low, his scaled back angled toward Marlowe. "Time is almost gone. Decide." Marlowe took one last look at the docking bay, the place where he'd started and ended countless shifts. Then he stepped forward, gripping the ridges between Sarathian's shoulders. The scales were warm under his hands, almost like sun-heated stone. "Hold on tightly," the dragon said, "and whatever happens, do not let go." Before Marlowe could ask another question, Sarathian lunged forward. They crossed the floor in seconds. The wind from the dragon's movement whipping at Marlowe's face. The blue atmospheric shield shimmered ahead like liquid light. They passed through it with a sensation like plunging into icy water. Marlowe gasped, but instead of choking on nothingness, he found he could breathe. The air was strange, carrying a faint metallic taste mixed with something like cinnamon. "Draconian biofield," Sarathian's voice came, strangely clear despite the vacuum. "Temporary life support. It will keep you safe for a few minutes." Stars stretched in every direction, so on, sharp and cold against the black. Halvern Station fell behind them, its massive structure glowing in the darkness, docking arms and habitat rings framed in silver light. Marlowe clung tightly as Sarathian's wings spread wide. In the weightless void, each sweep of those wings propelled them forward, the movements graceful and powerful. Soon, a sleek bronze-colored ship materialized ahead, its shape like a manta ray gliding through the deep. A hatch opened on its underside, and Sarathian angled toward it. They slipped inside, the hatch sealing behind them with a hiss. Gravity returned, and Marlowe slid awkwardly from the dragon's back. His legs wobbled, and his uniform, frozen stiff in places and singed in others, crackled as he moved. "Welcome aboard the Luminar Ark," Sarathian said, shaking himself like a great animal shedding rain. "Not my choice of name, but the Assembly prefers something forgettable for covert missions." Marlowe leaned against the wall, catching his breath. "We made it, for now." "More than for now," Sarathian replied. "We are already on course for the Stellar Research Assembly's rendezvous point." The dragon secured the containment case in a reinforced cradle near the control station, then began tapping commands into a console. Marlowe wandered to a small viewport. Halvern Station was shrinking behind them, its lights now tiny specks against the endless dark. He thought about the years he'd spent there, the countless hours of routine, the moments of quiet frustration. And now, in less than an hour, all of that was gone. "Second thoughts?" Sarathian asked, joining him at the viewport. "About 50 a second," Marlowe admitted. "I've just abandoned my post, broken every rule in the book, and thrown away my career. All because of a dragon I met less than an hour ago." "Then let us hope it proves worth it," Sarathian said, with a low rumble that might have been laughter. 6 hours later, The luminar arc approached a much larger. The Stellar Research Assembly's flagship, the Empirical Reach. The ship's hull gleamed silver, its structure a complex web of observation arrays and docking arms. As they docked, Marlowe stood beside Seraphian. The containment case sat between them on a hover trolley. The airlock cycled open to reveal a small, welcoming delegation. A tall figure with pale silver skin, a being of softly swirling light, contained within a transparent suit, and a compact figure with a fan of delicate frills where a beard might be. "Counselors," Seraphian said, bowing his head. "This is Officer Marlowe Griggs, formerly of Halvern Station Security. He witnessed and assisted in the recovery of the Aurelis Shard." The frilled figure stepped forward. "Officer Griggs, the Assembly thanks you. Your actions may have prevented a disaster beyond imagining." Marlowe nodded, awkward under their gaze. "I just did what felt right." They escorted the shard away, leaving Marlowe and Seraphian standing together in the docking corridor. The dragon turned to him. "The Assembly will want your full account. After that, what you do next is up to you. But if you want work, there's always room for someone who can handle unexpected cargo." Marlowe allowed a faint smile. "I'll think about it." As he followed the counselor toward the debriefing rooms, he glanced back one last time. Seraphian was watching him, amber eyes steady. Whatever came next, Marlowe knew his life would never be ordinary again. Somewhere deep inside the Assembly ship, the Aurelis Shard was secured behind layers of protection. Yet its power, to show glimpses of what might be, lingered like an unspoken question.